Welcome to enlightened wisdom, beloved souls. The air grew heavy as he stepped into the light, his presence overwhelming, undeniable. He was not just a man. He was power personified, moving with an effortless authority, fire burning in his eyes. They had underestimated him, your enemies, convinced their schemes would go unanswered. But now, here he stood before them. His voice, a thunderous decree, shattered the illusion of their safety. Judgment. The word rang through the air, sharp and final. A verdict they could not escape. Disgust twisted his lips as he surveyed their cowardice and deceit. This was no plea for mercy, no room for negotiation. Judgment had been called, and the sentence was sealed. For too long they thrived in darkness, weaving deception with ease, feeding off lies and betrayal. They slandered your name, turned allies into enemies, and took satisfaction in your suffering. Every whisper, every calculated strike, every ruthless attack, they relished in it. They believed that moving in numbers made them strong, that their web of manipulation had you trapped. They wanted you powerless, isolated, broken. But judgment is watching. His eyes pierce through the veil of deception, exposing the rot beneath their polished exteriors. He sees their bitterness, their jealousy, their desperate need to crush what they cannot control. The sight of them disgusts him, weak, cowardly, pathetic. They never fought fair. Always in the shadows, behind masks, striking from a distance where they thought they were safe. They convinced themselves you were powerless. But they were wrong. Their time is up. Judgment does not tolerate deception. He does not entertain excuses or yield to false tears. Their sins are laid bare, stripped of justification. Their corruption exposed under an unforgiving light. The weight of their wickedness crushes them, dragging them into the abyss they once prepared for you. They were warned. They had every chance to turn back. They chose not to. So he chooses not to forgive. This is not a man swayed by empty apologies. He has no sympathy for those who revel in destruction. His disgust is not passive.
当你看完这支影片，你就会明白为什么小资上班族想买个房，千万不能只靠自己。很多
It is consuming, a fire that burns through the fabric of their lies. They search his face now, desperate for a lifeline. There is none. The walls they built to trap you are now closing in on them. The whispers they once spread now echo back as condemnation. Those they controlled no longer admire them but recoil in disgust. They are rotting from the inside out. They thought they could toy with lives, play their wicked games, and walk away untouched. They mistook cruelty for strength. But judgment is the mirror they cannot avoid. And for the first time, they see themselves as they truly are. And they cannot bear it. They thought you were weak. They laughed at your silence, mistook your patience for surrender. But they were wrong. They believed their numbers, their influence, and their schemes made them invincible. To them, you were nothing more than a pawn, something to be used, discarded, and forgotten. But they were wrong. You were never alone. They failed to see the protection that surrounded you, ignored the warnings, and remained blind to the forces moving in your favor. They played their game in the dark, unaware that judgment was watching. Now their delusions are crumbling. The power they once wielded slips through their fingers like sand. Their carefully constructed lies collapse under the weight of truth. Their confidence, once unshakable, is gone, replaced by something foreign. Fear. They never imagined this moment. They never thought their day of reckoning would come. You were supposed to remain beneath them, crushed under the weight of their deceit. But instead, you rise. They underestimated the wrong person. You were never fragile. You were never powerless. They only saw what they wanted to see, someone easy to break, easy to manipulate. But they failed to recognize who you truly are, chosen, protected, unstoppable. Everything they built was a lie. Their victories were stolen. Their power was a borrowed illusion. They walked with arrogance, certain their deception would never be exposed. But judgment does not leave debts unpaid. Every cruel word, every betrayal, every wound they inflicted, it all returns to them tenfold. The tables have turned, and now they are trapped in a reality they refuse to believe in. They see it now. The whispers have shifted. The respect they once commanded has turned to disdain. Those who once followed them are backing away. They are losing control, losing ground, losing everything. Their arrogance was their downfall. They thought they could rewrite the truth, erase their crimes, and silence the voices that spoke against them. But truth is relentless. It does not bend to their will. It stands against them, immovable, undeniable. They spent so long believing in their own superiority, but superiority is meaningless when the foundation crumbles. And now they are watching it happen, watching the cracks spread beneath their feet. There is no way out. No more tricks, no more lies, no more illusions. The game is over. They bet everything on your destruction, convinced their ability to deceive, manipulate, and control would always prevail. But they miscalculated. They never expected resistance. They never prepared for a reckoning. Their greatest mistake was not just underestimating you, it was believing they could escape the consequences of their actions. Now those consequences have arrived, and there is nothing they can do to stop them. Drop a comment. They never saw me coming. If they underestimated the wrong person, they are learning their mistake now. The curtain is falling and their carefully crafted illusions are collapsing. The truth, long buried beneath layers of deception, is breaking free. No more hiding. No more pretending. The world is watching, and there is nowhere left to run. They built their power on lies, controlling the narrative, twisting facts, and bending reality to fit their agenda. They spoke with confidence, weaving falsehoods so seamlessly that even they began to believe them. But truth is relentless. It cannot be silenced, cannot be erased. It waits patiently, lurking beneath the surface, biding its time. And now it rises, tearing through their fabrications like a blade through silk. The masks are slipping one by one. Their deceptions are exposed, their allies stepping back, unwilling to defend them any longer. Their supporters hesitate, questioning everything they once believed. The grip they had on control is loosening, fingers slipping from the ledge, their credibility is shattered. And people finally see them for what they truly are. Manipulators, liars, cowards who thrived in the shadows. The respect they once demanded has turned into scorn. The influence they cherished is unraveling. The whispers have started. The same voices that once echoed their lies now speak against them. The crowd that once cheered them on now watches in disgust. The power they wielded so carelessly has become their downfall. They underestimated the truth. They thought they could bury it forever, that their lies were strong enough to hold. But truth does not bow. It does not break. It waits for the perfect moment to strike, and that moment is now. Their downfall is not quiet. It is not merciful. It is loud, brutal, and unforgiving. Every deception is being dragged into the light. Every false claim is crumbling under scrutiny. There is no defense, no escape from the judgment of those they once deceived. Their empire of manipulation is reduced to dust. The people they controlled are walking away, turning their backs, leaving them to drown in their own disgrace. They fought so hard to keep the truth hidden, but truth was never theirs to control. They thought they were untouchable. They thought they were invincible. They believed their lies would last forever. They were wrong. Everything they built is gone. The world sees them now, and it will never see them the same way again. And now, let's take a moment to honor the ones who were never meant to fit in, because they were born to stand out. A toast to the chosen ones, the silent forces, the watchers in the dark, always aware, always steps ahead, moving differently, thinking beyond, and seeing what others refuse to acknowledge. Here's to you. It does not waver, does not falter, does not bend to pleading voices. What has been set in motion cannot be undone. They feel it, a force greater than themselves, crushing, consuming, an unstoppable verdict they cannot outrun. They mocked, they schemed, they reveled in their cruelty. But judgment is not blind. It never was. Their downfall is unfolding, one blow after another, relentless, inescapable. Doors slam shut. Opportunities vanish. Support crumbles. Every step forward is met with resistance. Every attempt to recover is met with failure. They are powerless. Nothing works. Nothing changes the course they are on. They see it, feel it, the slow, agonizing descent. The ground beneath them is cracking, giving way to an abyss of their own making. This is karma. Every word they spoke against you, every action meant to break you, every plan designed to destroy, it all returns to them. Heavier, sharper, more merciless than they ever imagined. They try to fight it, clawing at their fading influence, scrambling for a foothold. But their grip is slipping. The harder they resist, the deeper they sink. Regret sets in. The laughter is gone, the arrogance erased. All that remains is the crushing realization. They did this to themselves. They thought they were in control. But divine judgment is not swayed by manipulation. It does not answer to them. It does not care for their justifications, their desperate attempts to rewrite the past. What's done is done. There is no mercy left, no kindness for the unrepentant, no sympathy for those who never hesitated to destroy others. They are drowning, not in water, but in the weight of their own actions, their own cruelty, their own sins. And the very things they used to break others are now breaking them. What they once believed made them powerful has become the very chains dragging them under. This is their reckoning. The suffering they inflicted, the lives they tried to ruin, it all circles back. The energy they poured into destruction now consumes them. No one is coming to save them. The same people they manipulated, controlled, and deceived have walked away. They are alone, trapped in the chaos they created. They thought they were untouchable, but no one is above justice. No one escapes consequences forever. No one silences the truth indefinitely. Their time is up. The divine verdict has been spoken, and it cannot be undone. Everything they built has crumbled. The lies, the illusions, the carefully spun web of deception. The world no longer sees you through the distorted lens of their manipulation. The truth has been exposed, and with it, their power has dissolved into nothingness. They tried to bury you. They spread rumors, twisted facts, and turned people against you. They wanted you isolated, defeated, forgotten. But their plans failed. Every scheme, every whispered slander, every calculated betrayal has backfired in ways they never saw coming. You have emerged from the fire unbroken. No longer do you walk with your head bowed. No longer do you live under the weight of their cruelty. The burden of their lies is no longer yours to carry. It was never yours to begin with. It belonged to them always. And now it is returning to them tenfold. The same mouths that once spoke against you are silent. The same people who once turned their backs are reconsidering. Their false narratives no longer hold power. Their influence, once unshakable, is disintegrating before their eyes. You have won, but not just in silence. Not just in survival. Dissolved into nothingness. They tried to bury you. They spread rumors, twisted facts, and turned people against you. They wanted you isolated, defeated, forgotten. But their plans failed. Every scheme, every whispered slander, every calculated betrayal has backfired in ways they never saw coming. You have emerged from the fire unbroken. No longer do you walk with your head bowed. No longer do you live under the weight of their cruelty. The burden of their lies is no longer yours to carry. It was never yours to begin with. It belonged to them always. And now it is returning to them tenfold. The same mouths that once spoke against you are silent. The same people who once turned their backs are reconsidering. Their false narratives no longer hold power. Their influence, once unshakable, is disintegrating before their eyes. You have won, but not just in silence. Not just in survival. You have won in a way they never expected. Through undeniable success, through unstoppable forward motion. Every attempt they made to destroy you has only made you stronger. Their biggest mistake was underestimating you. They mistook your patience for weakness. They mistook your kindness for naivety. They believed they could break you, erase you, replace you. Instead, they are now forced to watch you rise. And that is their greatest torment. They see you thriving. They see you reclaiming everything they tried to steal. Your reputation, your confidence, your influence. It is all being restored and more. Every door they tried to close has opened wider than before. Every opportunity they blocked has multiplied beyond their imagination. You are no longer the person they once tormented. You have stepped into your power. You have become untouchable. Their control over the narrative is gone. The people they manipulated are waking up. Those who once believed their lies are now questioning everything. Their influence is fading, their grip on others slipping. The respect they once commanded has turned into disdain. Their downfall is slow, painful, and unforgiving. They watch in horror as everything reverses. Their victories erased, their plans undone. They are now the ones being whispered about. They are the ones losing sleep, drowning in the regret of their own decisions. You were supposed to be beneath them. Instead, they are forced to watch you ascend. They regret everything. They wish they had never spoken your name. They wish they had never tried to destroy you. They wish they had never made you their target. But it is too late for regret. They set this into motion. They made their choices. They sealed their fate. And you have won. Completely. Then it happens suddenly. A shift in the air. A weight pressing down. A moment where reality slams into them with brutal force. They lost. The realization is cold, unforgiving. It creeps into their bones, settles in their chest, steals the breath from their lungs. They try to deny it, to cling to the illusion that they still have control. But the truth is undeniable. Everything is slipping away. Their confidence, their arrogance, their belief in their own invincibility. It vanishes. The same people who once stood beside them, who once spoke their praises, now look at them with doubt, their gazes filled with quiet suspicion rather than admiration. The respect they once commanded has soured into unspoken disdain. But the silence is the worst part. It is deafening, suffocating, inescapable. No more whispers in their favor. No more allies in the shadows, waiting for the perfect moment to rise. And now, it has. It grows, expanding beyond their reach, consuming every falsehood, erasing every lie, reclaiming the space they tried to fill with deception. This is that moment. Their downfall is no longer some distant possibility. It is reality. And the most agonizing part? They are forced to watch it happen in real time. It is relentless, merciless, inevitable. Every desperate attempt to regain control slips through their fingers like sand. No matter how hard they grasp, no matter how desperately they claw for stability, it is useless. The more they struggle, the more they lose. They scramble, their minds racing, searching for a solution, a way out. But there is none. They search for someone, anyone, to save them, to throw them a lifeline, to drag them out of the pit they have dug for themselves. They call out, reaching for the allies they once controlled, the followers who once hung on to their every word. But no one answers. Welcome to Enlightened Wisdom, beloved souls. The air grew heavy as he stepped into the light, his presence overwhelming, undeniable. He was not just a man. He was power personified, moving with an effortless authority, fire burning in his eyes. They had underestimated him. Your enemies, convinced their schemes would go unanswered. But now, here he stood before them. His voice, a thunderous decree, shattered the illusion of their safety. Judgment. The word rang through the air, sharp and final. A verdict they could not escape. Disgust twisted his lips as he surveyed their cowardice and deceit. This was no plea for mercy, no room for negotiation. Judgment had been called, and the sentence was sealed. For too long they thrived in darkness, weaving deception with ease, feeding off lies and betrayal. They slandered your name, turned allies into enemies, and took satisfaction in your suffering. Every whisper, every calculation,